Well, let me go across to our panelists. Tonight, joining us on the show, we have Sierra Claire, foreign policy analyst. Sarah Spector is also joining us, attorney and a Democrat analyst. I'm going to be coming across to you, Sierra Claire. We just saw Iran putting out that post. In that meme that they have put out, they say that this is Operation Epic Deception. Did Trump gain from this?
Well, of course, the Iranian regime would say something like this. They are the masters of media propaganda, first of all. But second of all, they actually have, we have confirmed intelligence that says that they have been targeting President Trump's life back from his first term, and as well as his cabinet members. People like Mike Pompeo had to live with increased security even after he was out of office because it was such a close threat. So, of course, the Iranian regime would want to put this back on Trump. But, when you look at what really happened, there was one conspiracy theory that you mentioned that does actually need to be addressed, and I believe it is being addressed. The White House ordered a review. Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, she ordered a review of the security protocols from the Secret Service because this event was not given the correct security rating. It wasn't given the highest security rating that the Secret Service could give it. It was downgraded, basically. So, I'm glad that they've ordered that review, and I'm glad that they're looking into that and hopefully making changes to keep President Trump safe going forward.
Well, yes, that security is long overdue. Many would say it's 45 years overdue. Sarah Spector, if there was a downgrade in the Washington Hilton, at the same area where Ronald Reagan was also shot at in 1981, why hold it there? Is this the strongest possible pitch for a bulletproof, attack-proof ballroom at the White House?
Not for an event like this. This isn't a White House event. This is supposed to be a neutral event. It's a charity event. So it's not something that would be appropriate at the White House, nor is a ballroom big enough to host an event like this that he's planning. It's really, that is just not a cogent argument. It's like saying when there's a school shooting in America that we should build a ballroom at the school. And it doesn't make any sense. The Secret Service is obviously an elite organization, and they make mistakes. When Obama was in office, somebody, and he wasn't anyone who was intelligent, some mentally ill person got into the White House. He climbed the fence and he got into the White House. And so it just shows the Secret Service, they're human, they make mistakes, they review their mistakes, and they try to do better. But I don't think there's any conspiracy by the Secret Service to do any harm to the president.
In that case, Sierra Claire, there are rumors also doing the round that next in line whose head is going to be on the chopping block is Kash Patel.
It's interesting. It's coming up. The reason it's coming up is because the alleged shooter wrote in his manifesto that he was targeting everyone in Trump's cabinet except Kash Patel. We don't know why he wrote that. I expect the FBI will come out, and hopefully address that. And this guy was clearly crazy, so I'm not putting a lot of stock in that. But what needs to happen is the FBI needs to look better into all of these assassination attempts on President Trump, as well as what happened to Charlie Kirk. And they need to do a better job of reviewing how these people actually got radicalized. What the FBI has done is they've basically said, we found a motive for the crime and the case is closed. But this needs to be looked at instead of as individual crimes. It needs to be looked at as a larger pattern, and they need to figure out if this is a RICO case for, basically whatever is happening on the other end, where these people are getting radicalized and indoctrinated. And I'm not trying to say, this is some conspiracy theory that traces back to only one bad guy, but that's why we have legal mechanisms like RICO that can address things that are basically a threat to our country. Even if they're happening in different arenas, even if they're not.
But why do you think, Sierra Claire, that Trump has been the target for so many shootings?
I think it's because he doesn't back down. I think it's because he shows leadership, just like he did at that dinner where he, gave up and gave a press conference an hour after it happened. And he said, I'm not going to be deterred, and we're not going to cancel events. And so, the people aren't used to that. People are used to politicians who bend and change their campaign promises if they're facing something uncomfortable. And President Trump doesn't do that.
So because he's making uncomfortable decisions, people seem to be uncomfortable with it, and perhaps hence the murder attempts. Well, we'll have to wait and see what comes out of this probe. Sarah Spector, how does this impact the mood on the ground that there has been another? In the past, we've seen every time there's a shooting, there's also followed by a sympathy wave. Has that happened in America?
No. I think people, unfortunately, I don't think so. People have become numb to, unfortunately, shooting events like this. I know it sounds really bad, but, I was here in Midland, Odessa, when we had a shooter running around Midland and Odessa, shooting at people in cars and malls and movie theaters. And that was a few weeks after El Paso, where people were gunned down in a Walmart. And I knew people, and I know people who were murdered in Uvalde. And I'm just one person, who has had so many connections to shootings in America.
That's disturbing. That's very disturbing if you say that the population on the whole have become immune to such shootings. Well, anyway, so the questions remain. 7 conspiracy theories that we've tried to decode for you. It doesn't appear that there is any mischief in the way all of this happened. It would have happened, but then the questions about the security scare, about why this was allowed to happen in the first place, these are real questions. Perhaps the incident remains, but the questions now are bigger than ever before. Thank you so much, Sierra Claire, as well as Sarah Spector, for joining us here on the show. With that, we're going to be wrapping up. See you again tomorrow.